Hey, welcome back. Alan Picard here. It's part 2 where we're going to paint radiant sunsets in pastel. I'm so excited to take this painting all the way to the finish line with you together. So we're going to look at steps 6 and 7. Step 6 really being layering and developing the pastel to create that glow. And then finally, step 7 is refining the painting to a finish. Are you ready? Let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with part 6, layering the pastel. Just in case you missed part 1, there's a link to the video in the show notes below, so go check that out. You're definitely going to want to watch that video before this one. And also, at this point, I'm going to be jumping into the layering of the pastel and continuing to work up lots of more subtle gradations of both value and color. So we're really going to be looking at that color now and making sure it's right. So let's jump right in. As we do, I've still got a little buildup in the center around the light to work on. So I'm going to jump right into this wonderful color orange and kind of get reconnected with this light source. I want that orange just to sit on the edge of the cloud, just like it's trying to break over the edge. And I'm using the soft pastel both on the side and then little flicks with the tip to build that up. And then I'm going to squint my eyes and make sure that the mood is starting to transition well. Just kind of look for other little spots where I need to see that orange, maybe even in the sky here and there. And then down in the water, I need to see some of that glow right through here. We're going to continue to adjust and sculpt those edges, transition between shapes to get them more accurate as well as richer and more painterly. Okay, so let's look for a gold. Got a couple of different golds here. Just a little bit lighter. Let's come around. Now I'm using a linear stroke right at the edge just to try to rim some of this irregular cloud shape, and I'll throw a little stripe in the sky there so we feel the glow of that light. I need to pull down on the edge of this cloud just a bit so it starts to, that was a little more than I needed to. So we'll pull that violet back up in a moment. Push and pull the edges, that sculptural approach. Here we go. Let's get this gold down here in the water as well. Nice, warm, radiant. You notice how we're going kind of red, orange, golden yellow, and then toward the light. We're stepping both the hue and the value. We're going from the mid-tone towards the lighter values, but we're also going from the red to the orange to the yellow, and that creates that radiance, which is so beautiful. I've got just a bit of a deeper ochre here. Sometimes I'll just scumble over the edge to break it down a bit. Remember, this is an atmosphere painting, so we don't need it to be really tight. Okay, I've got to build up a little more richness in the water as well as around the light as we continue to shape. I'm trying some pink here, just continuing that red family. See if that will help us just keep that nice harmony of light. It's a warm, glowing sunlight, lots of gold and peach and red. So I think that cooler gray just goes too gray too fast. You notice I'm just doing some squiggling here. I'm using side strokes and linear strokes to get varying textures on the water, to get that water looking like it's got a little bit of a wind to it. Maybe a little bit of pink up here, not too much, just tie that color in. I like that, but I gotta go a little darker. Got another mauve. So I'm gonna step the value from the lighter sun, pink, to violet. I've got a mauve right in between. Step the value. That's it. I need to build a little more body up inside this glowing cloud. I've got a pinkish red here. When the sun overlaps this darker value cloud, it gets deeper, but those rays of light are communicated by this warmer glow of red hue. So I'm trying to get that rich, warmer dark that communicates the glow of the light over the cloud in this area. Pull that edge up just a bit. Still try to make fairly bold strokes. Get up into the sky, and just as that sun is lowering, it's just throwing a lot of radiance. So I'm going to layer over the ochre with some of this golden yellow, really nice golden cadmium yellow. Little clouds that it grabs a hold of and puts. Whenever it hits the cloud, it's got something that the light can reflect on. Let's get now into that sun with some brighter yellow. I'm going to move towards this cadmium yellow. There it is. Another layer of pop and punch. Again, that light is just shimmering on the edge. Trying to squint my eyes quite a bit. Let's go a little more through here. Now we'll go lighter still. This is still a yellow, it's not white, but it's the lightest value we've used yet. I'm looking back at my thumbnail sketch. I can see that concept in the design of a nice, bright, contrasting light. Sun catching some layers of clouds, bursting through. A little more over here, maybe a side stroke up in the sky. Drag your finger over to quiet it down. And then just right below that sun, make sure we hit the right spot. We'll throw a little brighter light. Really want that movement of the light through this area. There it is. Take a step back and soak it in. A little more dark value way out towards the edge here. Hold those, anchor those darks at the perimeter. That's great. I'm going to use that reddish brown again that we had before. Just a little bit. Just a little more violet. Okay, that is good for that step 6. The last step we're going to do is just a little more refinement, step 7. It's in refining to the finish. So that's it for step 6, and we'll begin step 7. I'm just going to take a step back and soak it all in. All right, this is the last stage, refining the painting. We're looking to strengthen our shapes, emphasize the atmosphere, really dial in that sparkling radiant light. Maybe we might diffuse some edges, sharpen some others, make sure our mark making looks nice and fresh. Here we go. I want to do something over here. This is a little clumsy, so I'm going to come in with a red violet and just try to get a little more of that red cast moving through. Lifting, really, I'm just trying to ensure that shape carries and has the right compositional strength. I'm going to use some of this color over on the other side as well. Pull it in up into this cloud so we get some more layering. It feels like dimensional layers of clouds. And then again, with that whole concept of the glow, I'm going to bring this red violet over the blue violet just to create a little more glow, a little more of that wonderful sunlit haze by scumbling and layering it over. Maybe even a little bit more. My finger, pull it down a bit. So that's a scumbling technique, just using the tip of this pastel to scrub the pigment around. Little more movement through here. Notice I keep pushing and pulling that edge of the cloud to find the right shape. All right, that helped. I'm going to go back in here with a little stronger pink. I want this hot pink, kind of glowing, burning through the haze and atmosphere. That's it. Actually, that orange for me, I thought it just felt a little too light, so I'm just going to cover a lot of it. Little pops of light through the cloud. Clean up my pastel. So essentially I'm letting the pastel blend the pigment as I scumble. Instead of doing some blending with my fingers or a brush, the pastel is doing the work for me. There we go. That's starting to get that mood that I was after. I'm not sure if this works or not. This is a warmer, peachy orange, almost rusty color. It's nice. Right at the edge between the land and the sunlit ocean, I'll put a little bit of that peach. Heat up that transition. Back to my dark gray. I just want to make sure, out at the perimeter, I've got enough value strength. You know, now I'm really watching that radiant glow is communicating. So as I bring this cooler, darker gray in, I'm just watching that I get this wonderful feeling of the glow of the light. We really need those darks in place to allow the radiance to communicate. Tell you right now, I'm starting to feel the mood of that light and I'm getting happy. Those beautiful sunsets. Having my little modern day Bob Ross moment. Homage to Bob. Happy little clouds. All right, that's pretty good. Just a little, maybe a little bit of that down in this cooler area at the bottom of the painting. So conceptually, we're thinking further away from the light, cooler. Toward the light source, warm. Let's try just a bit more of a neutral ochre in the sky out here on the outside. Way over here on this side. So in these bold, loose, impressionistic scenes, I'm trying not to blend a lot with my hand, let the marks do the work. Use a little ochre down here in the water as well, tie that sky color back down into the water so it doesn't look unusual, as if there's a different light source in the bottom of the painting than there is in the top of the painting. You want to tie that atmosphere together, harmonizing colors. Here we go, just a little more over here. Just harmonize that palette. I like the way the yellow ochre mixes with that pink. Right at the edge of the clouds, I want to bring, and as well in the water, I want to bring a little more sparkly, really chromatic light yellow. A couple of flickers here and there. Right through here. I wouldn't, this is a color you use in great moderation. I wouldn't use a lot of it, but just a little bit to tell us that this sun is hot and this sun is bright. Little sparkles. This is like a chromatic accent color. Just a bit goes a long way. Back to a touch of orange. right under that cloud. This is a darker orange. The orange I used previously was too light. Put those little dark reds, maybe a touch of orange on top. Little pops through. Strengthen up this glow. I'm going to pull that out like the movement of the rays of the light. That's wonderful. So right at the edge of this cloud, the sun, so hot, low in the sky, is just sparkling. This is a soft pastel, and it collapsed. It gave its life for that little moment. Served well. Okay. Maybe a touch of a cooler violet out on the edge. Out here. I still feel like I need a little ridge of something. This rich blue violet is a nice transitional value between the darks and the midtones. Use just a bit right in there. Getting my horizontal cloud layers right at the edge. So as I use this, I'm letting it break down the edge of so it's a soft, hazy transition. Moody, moody, moody. That's what we want in this painting. Just break this edge down like it's melting into atmosphere. And side strokes allow that to happen. We are almost there. Now, this painting is not intended to be resolved and detailed. The mood of it intends to be loose and impressionistic. Just a bit of gold in the sky here and there again. Right on those clouds. Narrowing in that shimmer. This is a light ochre. Just looking at the way the gradation of the sky moves, making sure it's following that logical pattern from a warm, lighter area to a more neutral. Just going to take this little hake brush and break down some of the activity right here. Mostly when you use a brush like this, it's going to knock the pigment off the surface. But it's also, I want to break down that edge just a bit, do a bit more hazing. If I push it in, instead of like knocking, if I burnish in, it'll kind of push that pigment around into each other. Create a little more of that hazy, diffuse feeling. I'm kind of pushing it up. Remember, I want that smoky, hazy atmosphere. Sometimes I just want to knock that edge down. In this world that I'm creating, I'm not mimicking the edges of the photograph. I'm actually loosening and expressing the kind of atmosphere that I think tells this story well. So be the director of your painting. Okay. One more pop of light on the sun. I'm putting like a real radiant white light in there. Just one more pop of contrast. Let it crackle through. Grab a couple layers of sun on the way up. Maybe it drops down just a bit. Really keep it clean. Putting a nice impasto stroke, nice and thick on there. Maybe just I don't want too much, just a touch. I'll keep that yellow, not quite as light as the sun itself on the water down the bottom. And then just this dark, I'm just cleaning this edge up a bit. Sometimes when you use that brush, the pigment is removed from the surface and you just need a little more punch. That's it. That looks great. Okay, one more thing. I just want to build a little softer transition between that orange. So I've got a little brush, Le Pasteliste by Sennelier, and I'm just going to rub a bit of the edges here and knock down the edge of that orange. I'd prefer with the brush to my finger here just because I think I'll make a mess. I want to keep this color pretty clean. That's already better. Notice I'm following that movement of the rays of light as I do this. I'm pushing some of this orange into the yellow. We really want that soft, hazy transition. I may need just a little touch of hot pink. Right up in here, we'll pull it in. So some of these little kind of stumped brushes they create for pastels work well. All right, now that I did that, I'm going to come back in with, you know what, with some fiery pink. In between the orange and the red. I couldn't help myself. Just that lighter, I'm going to go back to that lighter peachy orange. Just bring in sometimes when you blend, you lose a bit of freshness. Just a bit more peach. And the yellow. So orange, we went red to orange to peach to yellow. Stepping that value to create the glow. As many times as we need to just get it right. just need a little bit more dark orange. Just cleaning up that yellow one more time. Sometimes it's just about getting the mark to look fresh. There we are. Well, this is it. We created an exciting, glowing, radiant sunset in pastel together. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. And if you did, please like this video and subscribe. I'm excited to bring more helpful content your way. And don't forget to download that link in the show notes, Painting Sunsets step by step, so you can follow along with some detailed guidelines. And I'll be right there beside you each step of the way through that downloadable sheet. Well, we created this luscious, painterly, loose, warm, glowing sunset. And now it's your turn to get out there into the studio and create your own. Hey, if you've got any comments for me, new ideas, or even just responses to this video, please leave them in the comment section below. And let's keep that conversation going. So keep on painting, and I'll see you in the next video.